Hello, my name is Justin Hound. This is my Module 3 interview presentation for EDL 853. I spoke with an administrator, a special education teacher, and a paraprofessional. First topic we discussed was child find procedures. The principal I spoke with, I teach in a high school, and he felt that his first statement or reaction to that was that we give most of our students from the middle school, they've already been identified, IEPs and 504s, so that's kind of taken care of at our level. But he did say that occasionally teachers will make observations and then refer students for testing and evaluation, and some students do pick up IEPs and 504s in the high school as well. The special education teacher I spoke with kind of had the same message, where we give most students from the middle school already identified. She mentioned that some parents do come to them with concerns about certain behaviors their students have or difficulties they're having, and they get tested and eventually identified that way as well. So that's also a process. And then state testing, of course. The paraprofessional felt that he had no role in the process, really. He said that that was kind of outside his realm of responsibility. But he said he would report concerns if he had any or saw anything that he felt might be worth talking to the special education teacher about. Second topic we discussed was the most challenging aspect of working with special education. The administrator said that basically his lack of knowledge and preparation in college, he didn't really get a strong background, he felt, in the special education realm. And he's been out, I believe, about 5 years. He's been an administrator, so to give that some perspective. He thinks it's important to assure parents that they are a part of the process, that they're in the loop. Keeping them involved, he said, was key, just to make everything, first of all, it's the way that it should be handled, but it just helps the process move much easier, much better if everybody's involved. Special education teacher felt that her time was much more consumed with paperwork and red tape than the amount of time she wanted to spend in the classroom if given the opportunity. So that kind of seemed like something that weighed her down a little bit. And like I said, she'd want more time in the classroom. The paraprofessional felt that adapting material when teachers failed to get that accomplished was a kind of a challenge that he faced almost on a daily basis. He said general ed teachers, a lot of times see it as a hassle and they don't take the time that needs to happen. And then he recognized it's not his job to adapt material, but he does it anyway because he cares about the students. Sometimes he says he felt like he was caught between the special education world and the general ed world. When the special education teacher is telling him one thing and the general ed's telling him something else, and at times he feels like he can be pulled in different directions. The next topic was the most rewarding part of working with special education, and the principal felt that sharing student success was the most rewarding. I mean, that could probably be applied to all students that we deal with, but that was what came to his mind. It basically, also he said that a lot of times these students have greater challenges than other students, so when they do have a success, it's that much more rewarding. And he identified a few examples. So that was his comment on that question. For the special education teacher, she felt that being a part of students' growth and development throughout high school was a great reward, just seeing them come in as freshmen, how they change over the 4 years and really develop for the most part. They mostly have positive stories that she can tell about her experiences and that time with those students. And she's really able to develop real relationships with the students and the parents because it's such a close relationship when it comes to special education and those students. It's not like a general ed teacher who has over 100 students throughout the day. These are typically a smaller group of students. For the paraprofessional, working with students on a daily basis, he felt like he got to develop a closer relationship than anybody else in this process because he was there taking the notes with the student and listening to the lectures and doing the projects. So he felt more invested, perhaps, than the other members of the team. So he felt like that was a great reward. As far as dealing with parents, the principal's message was to be proactive, to contact them if it's positive or negative, and it's always a good idea to get negative or positive comments out there. In the event something bad does happen later on, it'll be better coming from you after you've had some positive contacts with the parents. So if at all possible, be proactive on that end. The special education teacher felt that communication also was a key, whether it's positive or negative. Parents just want to know what's going on. Don't try and sugarcoat things. So just be upfront, be honest, and listen to their concerns. You might not be able to solve all the problems that they are pointing out, but at least listen to them, let them know that somebody cares about their opinion. For the para, he said that his best asset is just to be available should the teacher, whether gen ed or special ed, have questions or concerns, be there to answer those questions about observations they have in the class, and just be to assist, whether it's an IEP meeting or 504 meeting, just be available and be a part of the team. In working with general education teachers, the principal said that most are expert professionals. You need to trust them. They're going to do what they're supposed to do, and they do what they say. But be careful, because there have been instances, he said, where teachers have not been as professional as they should be as far as following the IEPs and 504s, and they try to cut corners. So just make sure they're aware of the consequences of that and the importance that you place as an administrator on those documents and what they call for. Special education teachers say it can be frustrating sometimes when teachers don't follow the IEP or the 504 plans, especially because they put so much effort and time into those and their legal documents they're required to follow. And also said that she doesn't have the time to follow up on every single student she has every day, so she doesn't know. She has to trust that the general ed teacher is doing the right thing. Also said that time restraints prevent her from being as proactive as she'd like to be, being in the classroom with all the students. The para said that following their lead, following the general ed teacher's lead is kind of what they do in the classroom. Sometimes it's easier than other times. Some teachers are easier to work with than others, he said. But he said he always tries to stay professional. Advice for first-year administrators. The principal said to basically pay attention to your lead administrator. You're typically going to come in as an assistant, and so take advantage of that time as an assistant and watch what the lead administrator does. Ask questions, take their advice, listen to people. Just be a student basically and continue to learn about the job. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. Just because you're a principal doesn't mean all of a sudden everybody's going to expect you to have all the answers. So it's okay to say you don't know, and you'll find out. Special ed teacher says to cut them slack and that it's a tough job. And as long as they are reasonable and admit when they don't know, kind of following on what the administrator said, then there's no issue there. She understands that everybody has a learning curve. And just again, be honest what you don't know and do the best you can. The paraprofessional said to maintain a positive relationship with the staff, keep everybody in the loop. Communication is key. It's not us versus them, administrator versus staff. Try and build camaraderie and a relationship with everybody in the building. Characteristics of an inspiring administrator. According to the principal I talked to, he said they are focused, they're willing to learn, willing to listen, and those are the kind of leaders that people want to follow. Special education teacher said communication was key. That tends to be a theme throughout this process, this interview process. To trust the staff, to ask for feedback, to be inclusive, basically. The paraprofessional said to remember and trust staff as well, and to be professional. And he felt that was very important. In reflection, understanding is a learning process, that you won't come in on day one and know everything you know. On day 100, you won't know everything. So continue to learn and be willing to learn as you progress through the ranks in your time as administrator. Faculty and staff don't expect you to be an expert from day one. Continue to learn and seek training throughout your career. And remember why you went into education, that it's all about the students. Thank you.